All right, moving on. Contrasting statements by Bangladeshi officials on ISKCON are reflecting a disconnect within the administration. While the country's Attorney General stated in court that the Yunus administration is mulling to ban ISKCON, the country's Environment Minister said that there are no talks on a ban happening currently. This week, I spoke with ISKCON India spokesperson and country director Shreya Upadhyaya. Take a look at an excerpt from that conversation. I also want to understand from you what you think about the kind of attacks that the Hindu minority community has been witnessing in Bangladesh, not just yesterday and today, but since this regime change happened, since the past few months, the kind of atrocities that are being carried out against the minorities in that country.
Yeah, what's been going on is a very unfortunate scene that's unfolding in front of us, but this is something that has been historically happening. If you look at the population of the Hindus during the time of independence, it was somewhere close to 30%, which has now come down to 8%. And even prior to this, if you see during the Noakhali incidents, also our temples were attacked, and very sadly to say that two of our devotees were also killed in the whole Noakhali incident. And in the past few months, similar things have been repeating. So what we have been asking as a collective voice of the Hindu society, including ISKCON, has been that the safety of the minorities should be protected, as is for every other citizen of a country. Those who are guilty of violence, they should be punished, taken to trial, and then punished. And many of the instances we have seen that they have been let off. So that's one thing that has kind of built a sense of impunity. So that should be addressed. And third, necessity for a peaceful coexistence needs to be pushed at all institutional and governmental levels, and bringing together all the stakeholders, which also means the minorities, and addressing the concerns. So that's what I would say.
Upadhyaya, can I also understand from you then, like you mentioned that, ISKCON is a group that has been involved in serving people, irrespective of their caste, religion, creed, anything. Why do you think then that it is being targeted in Bangladesh? Why do you think that ISKCON's religious structures, the temples, the people related to ISKCON, why are they being targeted in Bangladesh?
Well, I would say it's not only ISKCON. There have been other attacks also, like we have seen in the past. So, but ISKCON naturally being perhaps the largest Hindu society or Hindu group in the country, it's becoming an easy target, you could say. So we have seen in the recent past also some of the more radical elements coming out on the streets, protesting, and even threatening to behead and kill ISKCON members. So that has been a major factor of concern for the ISKCON members across the world. And through our channels, we have brought it up with the authorities in Bangladesh and sought that they intervene and make sure that these threats don't come to reality.
Now, even as Hindu minorities face violent attacks and arrests in Bangladesh, the country's law minister, Asif Nazrul, has quoted a Voice of America survey that states that minorities feel safer under the Yunus administration than they did during Sheikh Hasina's regime. In what is a clear attempt to cover up the ill treatment of Hindu minorities in Bangladesh, this survey states that 64.1% people in the country feel that the interim administration is ensuring the safety of minorities. To talk more on this, I'm joined by Major General Dhruv Katoch. He's Director, India Foundation, a defense and security expert. General Katoch, good evening, namaskar. My first question to you, General Katoch, does it surprise you at all that Bangladesh is using a Voice of America survey to hide behind the atrocities that are being carried out against the minorities in the country?
No, I think, firstly, thank you, Shreya. Shreya, what is happening in Bangladesh is a shame on the people of Bangladesh. I think they should be ashamed of what they are doing. But it is also a shame on the United States of America. How are they supporting such a radical regime after carrying out a regime change operation? Now, this survey which they have carried out from the Voice of America, whom have they asked? If they are going to ask the Jamaat-e-Islami people, are we safer now? You're going to get the similar response. Obviously, the Jamaat will say they are safer. The atrocities which are being committed on the Hindus, specifically on the Hindus in Bangladesh, is nothing short of a genocide occurring in slow motion. And I think the world needs to take notice and put a stop to it. One of the reasons why they are, why they're trying to accelerate whatever they're trying to do, including on the ISKCON temple, is there is a fear in their minds that once the Trump administration comes, things may change. So they're using this 2 months window gap to inflict as much damage as they can on the Hindu population. There is one more thing that I would like to state. When you talk of Mr. Yunus, who's the head of the administration, in 1971, when the liberation war took place, Mr. Yunus did not participate for the liberation of Bangladesh. In fact, his brother was participating as an active collaborator with the Pakistan army against the people of Bangladesh. And post that, when Sheikh Mujibur Rahman took over charge, then this man was tried and imprisoned, but he was given a general amnesty when Sheikh Mujibur Rahman freed a whole lot of these people. So there has been this radical tendency as far as this family is concerned, as far as also the present head is concerned, and also his leanings with the United States. Now that draws a great deal of suspicion. He has been very close to all the democratic former presidents. He has been in very, very close contact with them, and I will go to the extent of saying he is nothing short of being an agent of theirs. That is why this desperation has come in when a new regime is going to come in the United States come 25th of January. Shreya.
General Katoch, you make some very interesting points about how, Dr. Yunus was during the 1971 Liberation War. But you mentioned Donald Trump, and there are growing voices that are urging Donald Trump to do something about the situation that Hindu minorities are facing in Bangladesh. During his campaigning as well, he spoke about, how this should end, and he urged the Yunus administration to end the kind of violence that has gripped the country. Do you think that there would be some sort of substantial change when Donald Trump is inaugurated? There would be some sort of, peace and harmony that would come into Bangladesh?
You see, when I'm looking at the American policy on Bangladesh, whether it's the Trump administration or the Biden administration, they have got certain long-term American strategic interests. That is not going to change because they are looking at the St. Martin Islands and the Bay of Bengal area as a place where they can contain the Chinese. They also, both the administrations, they have also looked upon, getting certain pressure points on India so that they can at least influence to some extent India's foreign policy. Having said that, I do not think the Trump administration will go to the extent of condoning the genocide which is taking place of the Hindus by this particular administration being led by Dr. Yunus, by Mohammed Yunus. Now that is certainly not going to take place under the Trump administration, and that I think is a cause of concern as of now for the entire Yunus administration, as also for the Jamaat. I would also like to state, that regardless of what any surveys which these people are trying to conduct, we are in touch with a lot of Awami League personnel who are all Muslims in Bangladesh. And they talk about the horror which is being inflicted on the Hindu population. I think it is time for India also to take a very, very strong stance. I'm glad the statements have been made by the Prime Minister and the External Affairs Minister. But perhaps I think that the time has come to do more. We can't just stick to statements. I think we have to go very, very firmly on imposing sanctions, very severe economic sanctions on Bangladesh to make them smell the coffee. This is not the way neighbors behave. And what they are doing is something which is shameful. It was India which helped them tide over the genocide which took place in 1971. And they are trying to replicate the same genocide now, which I think reflects very, very poorly on Dr. Yunus and on his entire administration. He needs to take very, very serious note of India's concerns, but more importantly, he needs to take very serious concern of what is happening in his own country. Shreya.
Sure. General Katoch, I also want to talk about the American angle into this entire situation. We're talking about Donald Trump, but, Dr. Yunus himself had this entire photo op with Bill Clinton where he thanked him for the kind of regime change that Bangladesh has seen and in fact called him the mastermind of the planned ouster of Sheikh Hasina. That says a lot about how successive American Democrat governments have been doing this, not just in Bangladesh, but there are several other examples in different countries where there have been allegations against the current American regime, in bringing about chaos and disruption into those countries.
You see, the entire color revolutions which have taken place in the Muslim world, most of them have been inspired by the United States. They have actively collaborated and put those, carried out those color revolutions there. That is one. Number two, even in Ukraine in 2014, when the regime change took place, it was an American hand behind it. And now there's a direct American hand in the regime change operation in Bangladesh. And the former Prime Minister, Shreya Upadhyaya, she even made reference to it before she had to demit office. So it is not something which is a secret anymore. And I am afraid the Americans have also tried this democratic establishment. They have also tried to carry out such sort of a regime change operation in India. But India is a stronger country and we've handled that. Now, basically what the Americans are trying is, while we have got excellent relations with the United States and they're going stronger in many spheres, yet, on one particular aspect, you see, when we're looking at situations like this, they don't want a strong government in Delhi. What America wants is they want to be friendly with India, they want India to be strong, but they want a weak and pliable government whom they can control with respect to the foreign policy. Now, that they're not getting, and that is why the regime change operations. It is a very dangerous trend, and I hope that it is reversed by President Trump.
And that is why such, silly surveys that are coming out of publications such as Voice of America, that poll, General Katoch, that they have done has been including 1,000 respondents is what the details are. And out of those 1,000 respondents, 92.7% have identified as Muslims. And if you see the demographics of Bangladesh, in the last 2022 census, Bangladesh had about 7.9% of Hindu minorities. So, I mean, if you go around talking to the majority of the country and then go on and, say and publicize a report saying that people of Bangladesh feel that minorities are safe, what are you trying to achieve? Clearly defeats the purpose also of what you're trying to do, which is cover up the atrocities that are happening in Bangladesh.
Absolutely. You see, even as far as the Muslims which they have spoken to, I'm quite certain they weren't part of the Awami League. They most likely they belong to the Jamaat or to the Jamaat student wing. Now, those are the people actually who fought against the same Bangladeshi people and were they were in bed with the Pakistan army. It was they who, along with the Pakistan army, committed rape and murder of both Muslims and Hindus in Bangladesh, at that time East Pakistan, from 25th March onwards till the time the country was finally liberated on 16th of December. So I think the Voice of America needs to get its act together. They are losing credibility very fast, and such actions on their part only show the hollowness by which they're carrying out this survey. I don't think even in the United States anybody will believe that survey, let alone in the rest of the world. And I earnestly hope that they introspect and do the correct thing before this government before the next government comes in. Shreya.
How do you think this is going to move forward, General Katoch? There are voices from across the world urging the Yunus administration to stop this, but clearly there's nothing that's happening there. They have, in fact, blamed the Indian media for exaggerated reporting on this. How do you see this really moving forward? Do you see a resolution, an end to this anytime soon?
Very frankly, I don't see any end to this anytime soon unless the Yunus administration is thrown out and the Awami League gets back to power. That I don't think is going to happen in the immediate future. So how is it going to pan out? I think as far as the minorities in Bangladesh are concerned, they've got to, at the moment, I think they've got to fight it out. That is the first part. The battle is there. It is their homeland. They have to fight it out. Second, I think India must give very, very strong support now. That I can't see anything else. You know, we kept quiet when these murderous attacks took place in Pakistan, and that population has dwindled dramatically. Here, the population of the Hindu population has declined, and every year it keeps declining. I feel sorry to say that even during Sheikh Hasina's time, these atrocities were going on, but they were to a far lesser extent than what they are taking place now. So the situation is grim. The world has to get together. But more importantly, I think India has to take the lead. And we have to tell them, lay down the red lines. This, you cannot do what you're doing. You cannot carry out a genocide of this nature. And there are going to be very serious consequences if you continue on this path. I think the time has come to for the world itself to get together and throw out this government, the UNIS government, which is an illegal government. Even they acknowledge it is not a legal government. Have some sort of administration installed there and hold elections within the next 3 to 4 months. Let the will of the people prevail. Bangladesh is not like this. But I'm afraid the way they are going, the power is concentrated in the hands of all the elements who are anti-democracy, let me say, and who are absolutely radicalized elements of that society. The police is keeping quiet. I'm afraid their army is keeping quiet. They also need to get into the act. Otherwise, they will be held party to the genocide which is taking place now. Shreya.
All right. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, General Dhruv Katoch, for joining us on Global Mirror and sharing your perspective. Let's wait and watch and hope that this violence, chaos and bloodshed ends soon in Bangladesh. Thank you very much.